Welcome to Creatives Grab Coffee, the podcast on the business of video production.
Creatives Grab Coffee is hosted by Dario, Nouri, and Kyrill Lazarov from Lapse Productions. Our goal is to share knowledge and experiences from video production professionals around the world. Whether you're a freelancer looking to start your own business or a seasoned business owner aiming to scale your company, this is the show for you.
Join us as we develop a community of like-minded creatives looking to learn and help each other grow. Welcome to the business of video production. Welcome to Creatives Grab Coffee.
Before we get started with the show, let's go over today's sponsors.
Do you have a shoot in Toronto? Do you need crew or a strong production partner to help you with your project? Lapse Productions is one of the top production companies in Toronto and your go-to video partner.
With our strong creative skills and extensive network, we can help you achieve your goal. Lapse Productions is able to offer you production services, white label services, or finder fees for project handoffs.
Reach out to us on our website at lapseproductions.com to learn more.
My name is Miran. Welcome to Canada Film Equipment. We are a boutique rental house based in Toronto. We are here to help you guys out with all production sizes. Feel free to contact us to get a quote if you are a production house and you're looking for lighting, camera packages, or lighting and grid fan packages. You can see our contact information in the link below. We are more than happy to help you guys out. Make sure you follow and subscribe to creativesgrabcoffee.com. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Matt. Welcome to Audio Process. We are a boutique audio company doing location sound, sound design, post-sound, ADR, Foley. We service equipment. We do all your audio needs here in Toronto. We got you covered. Come on down, audioprocess.ca. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and all of the other internet things to creativesgrabcoffee.com. They'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you, and we're all going to have a real good time.
And now, let's begin the show. 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of Creatives Grab Coffee. Today, we have Chris Leclerc from Territory 6. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Is this your first podcast, or is it like are you an expert at this?
I've done like one other one, but you know what? It's just conversations, so I'm excited to just chat it out today.
He saved the best one for last.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying this is the last, huh?
This is the last, yeah.
The first and the last. I say those words.
You won't be able to top
What does that
this
mean?
one.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
You just retire after this one.
Yeah, it's all going downhill. It's good.
Before we dive in, Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself and like where you guys are based out of.
Yeah, so I direct and shoot, and I have a small production company called Territory 6, and we do commercials and doc stuff. And then on the other side, I also freelance as well. So mostly, and I've been doing this for, I'd say since I've been like 13 years old. So it's all I know is film. So I kind of live and breathe it in every aspect of my life. And so if we want to get into the whole backstory, I don't know if we want to jump into that now, but it started when I was 13. I picked up a camera and started taking macro photos in my parents' backyard, and I would take the lens and I would reverse it, and I would just go out every morning and I would take dew photo, like drops of dew on flowers. And that kind of got me excited about visuals and when I was like 12, 13. And then there was a photo contest in the county, and I grew up in Wisconsin, and every year, it's this classic, like right out of a movie. It's like out of the newspaper, like $500 grand prize for the winning photo. And so I'm 13, 14 years old, something like that. I started entering the photo contest, and then I won like 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row. I think I won.
Whoa!
And
wow!
And as a kid, you're like, "Whoa, this is cool! I got $500." Like
Big deal, yeah.
Yeah.
Back then too, when it was actually worth a lot more.
Yeah, it was like, it wasn't like it is now, like photos and stuff. Like I was taking film photos, and then I slowly got into digital stuff. But it turns out that the person that was putting on the photo contest was Kohler Company back in Sheboygan. So they make like toilets and sinks and stuff, and it was for their like company Christmas card. And the owner, Herb Kohler, hand selected my photos for like 4 years in a row. And then I finally got an email from like the guy choosing the photos, and he's like, "Hey, who are you? Like, you know, you've been hand selected out of like 50 people every year and you're winning. Like, we should grab a coffee. And he thinks I'm like 40-year-old man, like working in their factory. And I turn out to be like this 15-year-old kid. And he goes, oh, this is crazy. What are you guys doing? And at the time, my brother and I were like on the side of the films, photo stuff. My brother and I were just making movies in our backyard. So we were making movies with our friends. So we made a movie every summer. And we entered into this Christian film festival in Texas. And that kind of like kickstarted our career. We started, that was like our experimental years. And as a result of that, we were able to really just practice and figure out filmmaking. That was kind of like our college in a sense, like beginning college years. And then one thing led to another. That guy who emailed me, his name's Trig. He ended up owning like the largest agency in Wisconsin that he had just sold. And he's like, I'm kind of done and you guys are awesome. I'd love to like give you guys an office and like introduce you to all my contacts. And then he basically became our rep and we got an office and then he put us in front of like all the multi-billion dollar companies in the county and started to promote our company, basically became a rep and like pushed us around and like believed in us. And our brother and I started our production company and we did that for like 8 years. And we were just grinding on these corporate, like cinematic corporate films. And it was pretty cool because he became like our business mentor and like, you know, he became like the person that people trusted Trig, but we were the kids and Trig trusted us. And that's how we got off the ground. So
Have you ever played the lottery?
You know, I played the lottery once like 2 weeks ago.
Let me guess, you won?
I won $2. Spent 20.
Hey, he still won, you know?
Exactly.
What a lucky streak, man. It's like one thing just led to another,
it's kind of a wild story when it comes to like, and then we started, there was one project that was like very successful and it is that so much the way in film. It's like, you got to kind of make that one thing that stands out. And so as kids, we made this, and it was pretty much from Trig. His idea was like, I want to get you in front of all these CEOs so that they can see your work. And it was, at the time, I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, cool, great, they'll see our work. You know, and he knew how the industry worked. He knew how advertising worked. He's like, you got to introduce the work, and then they'll like slowly work with you. So we made this like tourism video for the county, and we spent 6 months filming it. So I would go out like every morning, shoot like the most beautiful parts of the county. I used my siblings as actors, and we would just like make the county look like insanely beautiful. We're right on the lake. So we interviewed all the CEOs of these multi-billion dollar corporations. So we put their faces in talking about, hey, come to the county and work and, you know, build your business here. And then we had a big premiere and everyone in the county, all the businesses saw our film and they all wanted to work with us after that. And that we couldn't even handle the amount of work coming through because they're like, we just want that. We want this. We want this. And I was like, cool. We just kind of like created this model of what like a cinematic corporate film would look like. And it just kind of blew up, and we kind of blew up as a result of that. And then other agencies started seeing our work, and then we started traveling more. And then that's kind of the kickstart. And then I was like 25. I was like, well, I'm kind of done with this corporate thing. I want to like try to push myself harder. So my brother and I ended up splitting up. He ended up doing more content creation, and then I ended up doing more commercial stuff. So I started shooting a lot, working with different directors, really all over the United States. And then I was like, I don't even really want to shoot because I've always just been this like entrepreneur, like I'll just shoot direct, we'll like figure this out. So I was like, I want to direct. So I just started making my own work. And one thing led to the next. I moved to LA, started to build my career, started my production company, and now I'm here. So, and then now it's pretty much all directing. And I'll shoot too. But it's more of like, it's probably like 70-40 or 70-30. That's not math. 70-30.
What made you go from LA to Denver?
Yeah, I think, you know, I'm just like a Midwestern boy at heart. And I think that I saw the future in LA and I was like, I don't know if I want to build for the rest of my life here. And I was traveling so much for work. I was flying around and I was like, I don't see myself. Like I'm fine. Like I don't need this. I had connections there, and I was just talking to my LA connections this morning. Like I found that where I found myself in my career, no one cared where I lived, and it is an advantage to live in LA. But I was not even really working there. I was doing like 1-2 jobs a year there, and I'm like, you know what? Let me do the exit. And it was the whole like COVID. Everyone was moving. Everyone's like, screw the city. No one's working. And I was like, I'm not gonna like ride this full wave and come out the other end. I'm like, I think now is the time to make the change. And so I moved to Austin for a year, tried out Austin, it wasn't for me, and then now I'm settled in Denver. So
What was the scene in LA like?
Scene in LA, it's all film. You know, it's just like everyone's hustling. Everyone's trying to get their projects off the ground. Everyone's trying to get the work. But honestly, the best part of LA for me was the network part. Like I was able to really build a really top tier team of artists and creatives that are still part of my team now. That is invaluable. I feel like the reason why my work is what it is because of my network in LA and networking with really talented people that are really now just my friends, you know.
And these are people that you freelance with. It's like in terms of like your business, it's just you as the core, and then you just scale up. Yeah.
And I found it to be the most effective way to kind of keep a lean overhead. I had a couple employees at one time, and it was going great. We did that for like 3 years, but it was also just stressful to like, they would be like, okay, where's my EP? Be like, where's the next job coming from? I'd be like, I don't know. Like, I know I got to pay you and we got to go. But yeah, I've kind of now just played the EP role. So every time a project comes in, I'll hit up my producers, trusted producers, and then we'll just scale up from there. And, you know, it limits you to certain sizes of jobs that you can take on, but that's fine. But I think on the freelance side where I can kind of get in larger opportunities where I'm not necessarily producing, I'm just directing. So it's kind of that yin and the yang. It's pretty nice. So
yeah, trying to stay lean and not have too many overhead costs. As a video production company owner, it's
hard. Yeah, you have to. It's like you don't know. You know, you might have a couple months where you're like, we're just kind of trickling in some income, and then the next month you're doing great. But like with a huge overhead, I don't get how people do it. It's like everyone's struggling constantly. It's like
one thing that surprised me so much is that doing this podcast, we've met so many companies that are way bigger than us, and they still have that uncertainty about where the money's going to come from. And that to me was shocking because I'm like, man, at that level, I would have hoped to never run into those issues. But they're still like, oh, I don't know. Like sometimes we have busy months, sometimes slow months. And I'm like, oof, all right.
Yeah,
and there's more lean companies like ours where teams of like 1, 2, at max 3, where they're not looking to scale any higher than that. Because like Dario and I have talked in the past about like the most ideal and max team size we'll probably ever like get to, depending on obviously how much work we get, is like 4 or 5 like solid people that, you know, that are kind of like Swiss Army knives of like what we need to do, but everyone has also certain roles and responsibilities. So it's not like any of us are thinking about expanding to like 10, 20, 30 person companies. Like we know we've had guests where some of them are like that, and they broke down for us the logistics of what it takes to kind of balance out those kinds of sizes of teams. And it's just, it's crazy. And you have to have really good inbound sales or inbound leads coming through.
That is the biggest thing. I was just talking to my rep this morning, and you know, she's just like, if you're not lean, you're dead, pretty much. If you're not running on a lean, like even lifestyle wise for like her directors, and she's always like, directors, you have to stay lean because we don't know where this is going. Like I can't guarantee you work. And I'm like, this is a business of passion versus like a business of like, ooh, here's a great business opportunity. Let's start a production company. You're like, nope. This is because you love it, not because you're in it for the cash. And the money can be good, but like, you're not building a real estate empire with film.
We've mentioned this before. Like the tricky part is that we're not selling products; we're selling skilled labor. Essentially, when you break it down,
services.
It's services, right? So the problem with that is that you can't scale it that easily, right? Because it's not basic services either. It's like very skilled, and it's hard to find those people to begin with. And then once you do find them, like there's only so much work that you could do before, you know, you got to grow your team, but it's like it's very hard to do that.
Yeah. And I see the people that do have a larger team, and it's either or. It's either they're so big that they're taking on the 1% jobs and they're just like doing these huge productions, $500,000, $5 million jobs, like top tier commercial world. And you got to have a huge team kind of ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Or you're taking on like the bottom end of all the work and you have to say yes to it all. And I had a friend in Chicago. He had, I think it was 30 employees at one time, and he was stressed out of his mind. He had like 3 full-time directors, like DPs, producers, the whole deal, editors. And he had to take on, he's like, I have to say yes to everything. And we're just producing crap as a result of it. We're producing work that's like, it's not good. So a couple of years ago, he pretty much crashed the company, laid off everybody, and started his own thing. Now it's just like him and his wife, and he's producing 10 times better work. He's loving his life a lot better, and he's making just as good of money.
Yeah.
So
It's hard. Like,
yeah.
That's why Kyrill and I have always, a couple of years back, we're like, oh, we should try to grow the team, get these people on board, and then now we're a little more hesitant to do so. Actually, we did speak with a friend of ours recently, and he brought up the fact that he uses he has like almost like a secretary or like VA, I think he refers to it. So virtual assistant, but it's not like an AI. It's like an actual person out of like the Philippines, and he's been using her for a couple of years. It costs him like $6, $6 an hour to hire, like to pay her and everything. And he was like just going on and on about how great it was and how it's helping him just take care of all like the excess like work that, you know, like
the admin
just
work,
a lot of
the
admin work that takes
Yeah.
a bunch of time, right? So as soon as I got off the phone with him, I called Kyrill up and I was like, yo, I think we should test it out and then see how it is, because I've been noticing lately how much admin work we're doing that it's just like
unnecessary.
It's just BS. Like it's like I'd rather work on something else, you know?
Well, and I think it takes maturity and leadership and understanding how you work too, to be able to like, how can I delegate these things when you're so used to, you're just like, I've always done this. It's like, obviously it's like, okay, I'm putting all this stuff together, but it's like, how can I figure out a system so someone else can do it? It's not always easy to figure that out, especially as a creative. And then you're like, I don't want to scale too much, so I don't want to like give away everything. And that's one thing I found in the past where I was like, when I had my producer going full time, I found myself, I would like give him the work, then I would be like, well, what am I doing now?
You're giving him all the creative control
just,
and
like, all the producing
work
stuff. Yeah, it was just like, okay, I guess I'm more free now. It's cool, but
yeah. Well, that's when you can sit down and then just go like, okay, he's taking care of all the creative stuff. I have to grow the business, so then you can focus on like more sales related stuff, right? Because that's
I'm just
grows
like,
the company,
my thing
right?
is, I'm always like, okay, let me just get on the phone. If I could just talk to people all day, that's usually how it works.
Yeah.
If you just make some phone calls, set up some Zooms, get some coffees.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think more of that is needed in the industry. I think like connecting with people in person is a good aspect. Like I've noticed with some people that I'm like reaching out to and talking with, I'm like, yeah, if it's easier for you, we could do it over Zoom. And then just this morning, this one guy I was reaching out to, he said, no, let's do a coffee. I need a reason to get out of my place.
Well, it's a result of like in our post-COVID world, like we've just become little digital networkers now, which is great on one end, but it's not as memorable, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I've always said like businesses made, but like especially deals are made by shaking hands. You got to go like fly in, let's have a coffee, and 90% of the time those are the connections that actually are built for worth something for me. Is when I go meet somebody, shake their hand, have coffee with them, build a little bit of rapport, and then I get thrown up for stuff. Versus like a digital Zoom it's not as great. So
I mean, now it's kind of become, I feel like doing it in person is another subtle way of showing that you give a shit as well, where it's like, I'm willing to take the time out of my day to meet with you to discuss certain things about so and so, rather than just scheduling like a quick Zoom call, because a quick Zoom call is that's literally what it is. Like I only have time for you just for like a quick thing here and there, and that's it, right? So it could maybe start becoming like a bigger message of like, I'm willing to meet with you in person. That's another way of like showing your intention. So definitely COVID has like flipped that.
For sure. And I'll go fly across the United States for a coffee meeting.
Really?
Oh, really?
Flights must be cheap over there.
Yeah. I mean, not really, but I just know the value of it. Whereas like last year, I'm like, okay, there's a coffee meeting in New York. I should just fly in for it. And then I fly in, then I'm like, wait, who else do I know here? Then I like, all of a sudden I have 5 meetings set up in 2 days. Because I'm just like, hey, I'm in town. We should grab a coffee. And people are like, oh, you're in town? That's great. Let's grab a coffee. And I found that to be it's like whenever I fly into LA, it's usually for like one thing. Then I hit up like 5 other people. And then all of a sudden it becomes like an awesome trip because I just got coffee with 10 people. And
nice.
But you got to you got to put the money in. But that's development work. It's like, well, I got to go shake hands and figure out how to get a deal. So not a lot of people are willing to do that. But
if you get at least 1 or 2 calls for work from a work trip like that, then it's worth it, because when you think about it, it's like, okay, say
Totally.
it's costs like a return flight of like $500, one night stay at a hotel for like 200, that's 700. Everything else, like say all in all, you're putting in like $1,000. But if you get like 2 bookings at like 10 grand each, that's pretty good, you know. It's when you start breaking it down with numbers.
Totally, and it's totally. And I found that like it's a long game on that stuff, where I never expect like it's more of just like, and it's worked out great. Your internet connection is a little choppy there, Chief.
Mine?
You're back. Yeah.
You're fine on our end.
Okay, great. Anyway,
Sometimes it'll drop in quality, but it's still
recording.
fine. Yeah, it's
Okay,
recording
cool.
like the high quality stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, but I found that it's more of it's the long game. Just like today, like last, I flew in for a agency pitch like last summer for this agency out of in Manhattan Beach, and I just got a call today they're like, hey, I think we've got the gig. It's like a year later, or not. We don't know if we have it, but like they're putting me up for it. But I'm just saying, it's like it's the long game. Then I like met with the creative director. Then my rep's like, hey, do you remember Chris? Like he would be great for this. And they're like, oh yeah, we remember Chris. So it's like it's totally the long game. If we can get the gig, then it's like, oh, this is one touch point, and hopefully we can work together again. You know. So
Yeah.
but it's the willingness to like just jump on a plane and be like, sure, I'll be there. We got an agency pitch. You want me to talk? Go.
It's the first time I've
Nice.
heard of someone being so willing to jump on a plane for a coffee, mate. I love it.
Well, I think it's also I've tried to be a little location agnostic in a sense from my career, where I don't really wanna. I really want, now that I'm in Denver, I really want to start working more local. But over the years, it's been like all the good projects are coming from everywhere. They're not like just in one spot, you know.
You're like a nomad.
I used to be a full nomad. I was living in my van for about a year and a half. I built a camper,
wow.
and I was just traveling around. I was living in my van in Austin anyway. So yeah, I used to be full nomad. I'm like now in like the opposite of that. I'm like, please, I don't want to be a nomad anymore. I was a nomad. So.
Yeah, wait, you were living in a van? Like, was that like your hippie phase, or like what was up with that?
It's my whole phase, dude. It's my whole phase. Yeah, so in 2021, when like 2021, when everything was shut down in LA, all the state parks were shut down, and everything was Zoom meetings, and I was like, the life. I'm like, this is the life. I could write treatments on the ocean. I was like, I need to build out a van. I was like, I can get Starlink, and I can just drive up to Malibu, drive up to the beach, open up the doors, pull out my laptop, and start working. I was like, I need to do this. So I bought a Sprinter in like 2021, at the end of 2020, I think it was. And then I spent 6 months, and this was when it was like, everything was kind of slow. I was picking up gigs here and there, but it was like just enough to keep me going. And so I rented a separate apartment in LA with a little backyard that I could like park my van. I built a little shop in the backyard, and it took 6 months to build this like off-grid. And then I threw everything that I owned in the van, and then I moved to Austin, threw it in a storage unit, and just lived in it. So
Wow.
no longer. I did that, and I'm not doing that again.
I've seen like TikToks of people doing that, and in my mind, I'm always like, I wouldn't be able to just choose like 2 pairs of shoes to bring with me. Like,
Well,
just
I honestly,
shoes alone, I wouldn't have space in the camper for.
That's actually one thing that I kind of loved about it is when you have a house, you can just tend to just buy stuff on Amazon. It just comes, you're just constantly just like buying stuff, and it's like not constantly buying stuff, but like you tend to be like, oh, another shirt would be great, or another pair of shoes, whatever. But with the van, you're like, okay, I have like 4 shirts that are nice. Then I have like 1 pair of shoes, and it keeps you super minimal. It like shows you that like you only need a few things to be happy. Yeah.
Question. Okay, so you do that with the clothing. What about the camera gear? What did you do? Narrow it down to.
I just kept my package really small, and a lot of the times I'm not all my jobs I'm bringing on my package. I'm like maybe working with a DP that like has his package, or like working with a rental house. So I've purposefully like not gotten into like the full blown gear game for that reason. I'm like, this stuff just goes out of style. I've like 5 cameras still, so it's like I'm not in the camera game, but I don't own like the Alexa packages and the lenses and all this stuff, because all my friends, I'm like, you guys deal with that. Let me go build creative and really kind of stay in the more creative end, conceptual end, and not worry about gear. Because I honestly don't love it when like little parts break. I'm like, this is just constantly pouring money into like, oh, the screw doesn't work. Oh, okay, great. Now the camera doesn't work because the screw's gone. Great.
Can you
I just
imagine?
don't want to deal with it.
Can you imagine he was trying to choose between charging the battery for the shoot or being able to use the stove and the camera?
Oh my god.
And I would. I mean, like solar, I'd be like charging batteries and prepping for a job like out of the van. That is
The funniest thing
Not
about
fun.
these van life like stories is because out of curiosity during the pandemic, I was like, all right, if we were really going down and we had to get ourselves in a van, how would this whole logistical thing work? So I was looking at YouTube videos of like how people set up their vans and everything like that. But the funniest thing that I was just curious, Dario. But the funniest thing I saw was when they were talking about how they had their bathroom situation sorted, because I was very curious about that, right? This one van showed how they had this like toilet seat attachment, which they literally had like a toilet seat that they put on the end of the end of the van, that they would just sit on the back of the van. It doesn't go anywhere; it just goes on the floor, but it's just a toilet seat. And I'm like, okay, I don't know.
I saw that on Top Gear when they went to like someplace up north.
It's just a seat.
so funny. Yeah.
So is that what you had, Chris?
No, well, honestly, my thing was just like I refused to have a toilet in the van because I'm like, I am not about to drag my crap around in the van. I was like,
Oh, so you did have the toilet attachment then?
No, I didn't. I was like, well, I'm going to stop at a gas station. And then I was working out at a co-working space. So like I had a pretty good pace where I was
that's
still
not bad.
working. So I would like park, and then I had my gym. So I had like a little routine going where I'm like, okay, I got my co-working space, grind out, take my meetings. And then like the van was, I loved it at the time, but now I'm like, it's so nice. Like that was the season. That was my hippie season.
This is crazy. I would never be able to do that.
Did you spend any time in Pacifica when you were in the van?
Pacifica, where's that at?
That's south of like San Francisco.
Oh, I spent a lot of time on the coast, so it was like if anything, coast world.
You probably reached out over there, yeah. Because
Well,
I went down there and I met a whole van life community with my fiance there, and it was just like a group of like 3 or 4 vans that would just hang out there all the time, and like when we became friends with them and everything, I figured like that would be like the place for you to go as well.
So the thing is though, I found that like I can't really just hang out in the van. Like I'm not just like I'm just gonna go hang out with the van community. For me, it was like a lifestyle thing where I'm like I have to work still. I have to like find a co-working space and work. And then, but I would like there were moments I like bring out Starlink and like work all day in the van. But I found I was not as productive, and that's when I was like, this is costing me more money to live in the van than it was like. Oh, it's cheap to live in the van. Like yes, it's cheap, but then also the opportunity where you're not working, you're like, oh shoot,
costs.
I gotta like, yeah. So I was like, screw this. It takes so much work to like get everything to live life in the thing. It takes twice as much work, pretty much. And I'm like, this is taking way too much time. I need a house, and the van's gonna retire. So,
and here you are.
Actually, I should send you the van. It's actually kind of cool. You guys want to see it?
Yeah.
Can we do share?
You could send it to us after.
Actually, yeah. Do you want to do a little share screen? I'll show you.
Let's see.
It's actually pretty cool looking.
For our listeners, you'll have to watch the episode.
We'll describe it. It has 4 wheels. It has 4 wheels.
It's long.
There's a toilet seat on the
No,
back.
guys, it's so much cooler than that. I promise. It's so much cooler than that. Let's see here. Van build. Can I share my screen?
I think so. Can you?
Can we?
Yeah. Window.
What if you put it in the chat? Maybe I can.
So this is just. Can you guys see this?
you can.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
let's see.
Okay, there we go.
So this is the build.
Bro, I love Riverside. They keep adding like new features before you can.
Yeah.
So I did like this art build. You know, it's like, oh look at that guy. So this is like open up the doors. I got my laptop out there just working.
This is nice. This is a nice.
I still wouldn't
look.
live in it.
This is like a nice thing to have if you're gonna go away for the weekend to camp or something. That's what these vans are good for, you know, not to actually live for long periods of time. Like I would think that would be cool for that, you know. But it's almost like an RV. It's almost like the RV style.
I'm way too high maintenance to be able to do that.
I will say though, like it made me. It turned me into this little bit of crazy, I feel like. When I was like, I'm just too wild now. I'm just like living on the road. I need to domesticate myself.
Let me ask you a question, okay? Very important question. Mm-hmm. Did you grow out your beard and the hair? You did the whole...
Yes.
You committed to it.
Yeah, you committed to the lumberjack.
I feel like it's a fine line when you go to a camper van where it's like you're still sane or you become a bum. It's like a fine line you gotta like tread.
Trust me, I was like, okay, this has gone too far. I think I need to stop this lifestyle.
Once the beard is past 3 inches, then you've gone too
No,
far.
it was literally, I had it going, and then I shaved my head, and then I was like, okay, this is like what just happened to me.
Yep. No,
They
that's
turn into like
hilarious.
Tom
It's
Hanks
good.
in Castaway, and then he's
Yeah.
back now.
Did you have a beach volleyball there called Wilson as well?
Exactly. Yeah. No.
All right, let's bring it back to video production.
Let's bring it back
'cause-
to film where people actually care about. Yeah.
So right now,
Yeah.
like, it's funny. At the beginning of this year, like, I have a small company now, and like, you guys do like a crazy amount of work. As soon as he said small, I'm like, Jesus, if he's small, what are we then?
Yeah. Well, I
Minnows.
guess it's it's because I've been in this industry for so long now
How many years?
that I mean, since I was like 18, I'm 34, so like whatever we'll call it, 15 years, 14 years,
15 years.
15 years,
16 years. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And so it's just like networking with people. I worked in this job with that person, and then they brought me on this other thing, and then one thing leads to the next. So I feel like it's just the longevity is that I've been able to like network and get in touch with people that know my work. So yeah, and this year has been great. Like I've been entering into the long form space. So I'm working on 2 shows right now, and that's been a challenge and also really good stretching to like not just be in the commercial game where everything's like 60-second world or 90-second world. So
So like
that's gonna
TV
be-
shows or
Yeah.
maybe more. What were we talking about last episode? Kyrill, branded content or
Like,
No, this is
like
this is
documentaries.
proper. Yeah, 2 docs. One's
Nice.
one's like proper doc, and the other one is we'll call it like what would you call it, a
improper doc?
docudrama. So like we're doing interviews,
Oh, yeah.
and then we're doing like recreation moments, like narrative stuff on top of that. So it's kind of the
Crime.
best of both
Is it a crime
worlds.
one?
I was just thinking crime.
It's always crime ones that are recreated, like, and it's just like some like blurry shot of like a
FBI
It's usually like
files.
an interview, and then like a blurry shot of like a prison cell, and it's like this is the docudrama stock
Yeah.
footage approach. You just blur
I
shots
went
of
on-
certain buildings.
I went on a FBI Files binge because they're so well done, and every episode I just kept thinking, man, the company that got this contract.
Well, now like with this new AI stuff, I'm like, this is so interesting from a docu perspective, because
Right.
you can go shoot an interview, get that authentic story, and then then if you want to go do the recreation, just do it in AI, and then like it can be like the world that you create. That's at least how I'm thinking. I'm like, oh, this is
That's
cool.
not bad, actually. Yeah.
Right?
It's not
Where
there
it's
yet,
like,
like,
it's
maybe
about a
soon.
vibe. Yeah. No, it's not there, but like obviously it'll like yesterday. Did you see that? Who just launched yesterday? Did you see the new AI company that launched? Let's see here. It's called
It's funny because there's always an AI company being launched daily.
Luma Labs. They've
seems-
been around.
Oh,
because
no,
of everything.
yeah.
So they just released their like Snora like competitor, and you can actually use
Snora?
it. Snora. I think it's Snora.
Sora.
Like,
Sora.
I thought you were making fun of it for a second, Snora.
Sora. Like these AI names are like Chat GPT. Why did we create this name? Snora? Sora?
Sora.
Sora?
He can't get Snore out of his head.
Bro, I thought he was
Yeah,
making
gosh.
fun of it for a second.
No, but I'm looking at the footage. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a tool in the future for sure. And we have to adapt as creatives. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's going to take out a bunch of work, but also I'm like, we have to figure out how we can integrate it. It's not going to take out everything, but it's going to take out a lot. And
It's going to take out a good chunk, but yeah. I don't know.
yeah, it's just kind of sad to me. I'm like, this is so sad. I mean, this is what the internet does. It just like it drives us to the bottom. Better, faster.
But
Did you
there,
see-
there's a lot of jobs that are going to be at risk, especially once it does get, because
Yeah.
once that, if because it's always the tech side advances
Yeah.
before like the text to video side, right? Text to video is always going to be behind because there's more complexity involved, right? So like
Yeah.
once it does get to that stage, I think I'm curious to see what's going to happen because
well, and it's going to open
be
up like new directing opportunities. I feel like you saw the Wes Walker spot with like Under Armour. It was like hit the industry like a month or two ago. Did you see that whole blow up on that?
no.
No, we haven't.
So basically, what happened was, I think it was Sunny and 72, one of the big agencies. they had previously had this Under Armour spot, and they trained AI on like a spot that was made like 3 years ago. They trained AI in all the footage, and then they made this new spot. The spot's absolutely insane, but like a new director like directed the spot, and so it was like using this other director's footage, and it was this whole blow up because it was like, who owns this stuff, and how, you know, we're just like driving creatives out of a job basically. Yeah. But I looked at it as I was like, well, you know what? Stop being so sensitive, because that director worked as a work for hire, and all the creatives worked as a work for hire. They don't own anything on that project, even though they're the top 1% directors. They don't own it. The freaking client owns it. The agency obviously doesn't even own it. And so I'm like, they can do whatever they want with it. Why are you guys complaining? Like, you shot this spot, and they're like, I don't care what they do with it. I made my money. I'm moving on. And now the thing is like training AI on these like old footage, so that in this new Luma Labs thing, you can drop in an image that either someone else's image or your image as a reference, and it'll build off of that. But I'm like, you know, this is work for hire world. If you don't want to be work for hire, go make feature films, you know?
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that like people are like, I understand why. It's just like anytime you put it on a platform like YouTube, for example, YouTube will technically own the rights to maybe train their AI. I mean, for sure, they're going to train their AI with it. There's really nothing else you can do other than just host it on your own platform, which no one's going to do because it's going to get no eyeballs, right?
Totally.
But, I mean, it's once it does get to that point where it can fully replace jobs, like, I wonder what's going to happen. Like, I think everyone's going to be in trouble by then.
Yeah, I mean, it's the future, unfortunately. You know, even like, you see, was Austin I forget, I just saw it on Instagram last night, but basically you're saying like you can have ChatGPT or whatever AI program write a script, feed it to the program, a video generator, and it'll like make your movie. And there's going to be so much content in the future, there's not going to be enough eyeballs for it. And so it's going to be like, the value is going to be like, who has the audience that's going to be able to like view your stuff. It's not going to be like, oh, you just made something cool, that's great. Anybody can make something cool by literally just dropping in. It's like, can you make something that's seen, you know? I
mean, a good example of this is like when there was the DSLR revolution, right? Like it was gatekeeped the content creation world for so long, and then when that came in, that disrupted everything because a lot more people can jump into it. And now this is just another version of that, where more everyday people can maybe even potentially jump right into it. And who knows where it's going to go? Like just the first few weeks or months of like seeing it, it's like, okay, it's not there yet, but you know that they're going to improve on it, and it's going to get better, and there's going to get a lot of good use cases out of it. I mean, they're even,
you know, Kyrill, the thing is that the value and what we did, the difference is that you still need to know how to use it. Like when we went from,
that's the thing, you
know, camcorders to DSLR, or like, you know, film to digital.
But here's the thing. It's like, you look at the comments on like, let's say a brand's like promoting like an AI image, you'll see it every once in a while. The comments are just ripping the brand apart. It's so interesting, because I'm like, this is going to be so interesting in the future, where brands are going to be like, hey, look, we can just try AI, and they like, try an AI campaign, and like their customers are like, screw you guys, because we want authentic stuff. Anybody can do this, right? Like now the cost of entry is so low. So brands that want to stand out, they have to like overinvest in like authentic, real storytelling versus just like glossy AI images.
You know what's really
until their
ironic
bottom line is threatened.
You know what's really ironic about what you just said? You said, oh, it's not real people, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. The people that were complaining in the comments. Everything that's out there is all photoshopped to hell, so that person doesn't even look like that anyways, right?
Yeah. But
look at all the filters.
I see what they're coming from, because it's kind of like, we know like every average person now knows that like you can just type in an image and get it. And so there's no sense of like thoughtfulness as thoughtful behind it. It's not like you're creating this campaign to be like, we're going after this specific audience, and this is how we're going to reach them. This is how we're going to tell a story. It's just, so I think that's where, I don't think film's going to go anywhere for certain brands, because it's going to take out the bottom end for sure, where they're just like, we just got to blast it out there. We just need content. We got to like get images in front of people. But like brands that actually are trying to position themselves in a really specific niche way with like true authentic storytelling, it's not going to go anywhere. People, here's the thing. People notice care, and they notice like when you, my example is like when you get a new iPhone and like you take out the box and you're like, how beautiful. This is so nice, right? Same thing with like film world. You see a movie and you're like, oh, it looks cheap. The animation's bad. And our eyes can tell the difference between like, oh, wait, that's animated, that's not. And I don't know if we're going to ever be able to cross that boundary of real. I don't know if the animation and AI will ever be able to cross the authenticity boundary, because our human ability to see real is so, I don't even know what to call it. Yeah, it's just so dialed. Like we can tell what's real and what's not. Yeah. You're like, wait, that's fake. You know,
we've mentioned
it's like reading
before
people.
We mentioned that before, how like even with like the new versions that come out, like new like GPT 4.0 and everything, or even with Midjourney when they got the new versions that came out and everything, it looks great for like the first 48 hours, and then right away once you start seeing more of it, you can start to pick it out and say, oh, that doesn't look real or anything, you know.
Well, and I'll use AI a lot in my deck building, and it's fine. It's fantastic for deck building. Agencies and clients love it because you're setting a visual image. But what I was just talking to a creative director friend about this. What he's realizing, he goes, we'll create these AI images for clients in a deck to be like, this is what we want to shoot. But he goes, it's almost impossible to get it as good as AI, like in person. So like to recreate a shoot that looks as good as an AI image costs a ton of money, right? Right?
Maybe so you're setting high expectations, like
setting these high expectations,
super high expectations.
Shoot, and I've even found myself, I'm like, I don't know, I'm just gonna put this in the deck, but we cannot shoot it like this. This is a vibe, but like there's no real.
You gotta say it's inspiration, not what we're actually gonna do. Or you have to go to ChatGPT or whatever, say make it look less professional. Make it look more amateur, so I look better.
Saying, right? It's like you can kind of create anything and show like, oh, we want to do it like this, and then you're like, it's the whole like meme of like client budget versus reality, you know?
The horse drawing.
Yeah.
What do you use? Do you use Midjourney?
Yeah, just Midjourney stuff. Which is, but I love it, but again, it's just for deck building for me right now, image creation. But I'm also trying to like use it. I use it when I'm like dreaming up something that I can't find a reference for. I'm trying to get really specific with something. If it's a wardrobe, it's like a vibe that I can't find an image for, then I'm like, I need to use an AI thing. And that's when it helps a ton, because I'm looking at the slide, I'm like, I need something that like punches this up a little bit. And when I can type in exactly what I want and the vibe for that image and actually throw it in the deck, it just helps so much.
Nice.
Yeah, they've really improved. I remember when I was trying it out, I was just trying to get like a basic image, like a guy holding a camera, and it would do like 3 lenses.
Exactly.
Or the hands have like 50 fingers.
Did they fix the hand issue yet? Or still?
I have no idea.
It's pretty dialed in. Yeah.
Pretty dialed in now? Okay.
Yeah. There might be a moment, but I'm like, I don't know, just Photoshop it out.
It's like this, and then there's like a third hand.
Well, even like, and then even with like Photoshop stuff, like it's so great. Like generative fill now, it's just like do whatever you want. It's nuts.
They're adding it to the new iOS 18 as well. So like if you take a picture and there's people in the background, you could just like.
Which is funny because Google's had that for like years.
Yeah.
And Samsung, they're just like, dude, what are you guys? And then when Apple comes out with, they're like, oh, it's new. I'm like, dude, this has been around. Like every Samsung user and Google Pixel user has been like, oh, dude, we've had this for forever.
You know, it's funny. I've been with Apple since 2020, so I had no idea anyone else had it. So it was brand new for me.
I've seen the ads. I've seen the ads where they've like promoted it like very specifically. It's like, you can do this. You can increase the size of the person in the image. You can do whatever. But yeah, like Dario said, like since like 2021, I jumped on board as well, and then since then I don't know what else has been going on with it.
I'm with you. Yeah.
What's the scene in Denver like?
So I just moved here about 8 months ago or so. So and I've been working here over the years, and that's part of the reason why I moved here. Is like I had a pretty good base crew here, and connections. But I think the best thing about
you mean
this,
sorry to interrupt, like connections like work like clients, or connections as in crew?
Crew connections, film people versus like client connections. I had a couple clients here over the years, but they've kind of done their own thing now and like moved on. So, But what I love about it compared to especially LA is there's just like this family mindset that if you're in the industry here, everyone kind of knows each other like one or two connections away. And it's great because, you know, it's more of a family city than it is like one-upping each other like LA. Like, how can I get in with you? So I think it's just way more authentic than people want to be here because they love the lifestyle versus like, I'm chasing my career in LA. I want to like go after the 1% jobs and like try to be the 1%. Like here, it's like, no, I just enjoy what I do and I want to go shoot in the mountains and go film skiing and lifestyle. And
It's collaborative.
I'm just curious
Very much
about
so, yeah.
something. Like, so, I mean, the U.S. is big. Like, how did you, like, choosing, like, something specific, like, you know, Denver or another city, like, how do you make that decision? Because, I mean, you guys got, like, what, 50 states, right? What are they at?
yeah,
50,
I know
52?
you Canadians don't quite
Yeah, I don't know.
understand.
It's 50 states there.
50,
It's
okay.
not rocket science.
I don't know. I'm not American, bro.
I just find the Canadians, I'm like, you guys are basically Americans. Like you're just like,
Dude,
speak
I would-
English. You know, it's
I
just-
think the way things are going here, if you guys absorb us, I think we'd all be fine with it.
Yeah.
As long as we get that reserve currency, would be good.
Oh my gosh. No, I guess I'm just like an outdoors guy. I just love the outdoors, love camping, hiking, skiing. And you start looking around, you're like, where else would I live? I'm like, I'm not going to live in Pacific Northwest. It's too rainy. Go live in Utah. Too many Mormons. And then there's like, sorry, nothing against Mormons, but
I don't even know what they are.
That must mean like it's like a city
that's
focused
fine.
on
well, it's
on
like
that.
they're like a tight knit community. You know, it's like hard to get in with them. But all that's to say is, when you look at like larger cities within the West, there's not like a ton of options. You know.
So you went
And,
more for like the lifestyle approach, because I was thinking like
Yeah.
for a like if you're going for like a business approach, like how you would make that decision. That's what I was curious about.
Yeah, I feel like it's just lifestyle is important to me. So I'm like,
So you went with the
yeah, because I'm like I've made it work in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. I can make it work in Denver.
Oh, I see.
Sheboygan. How do you even pronounce that? Sheboygan.
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 As I joke, I'm like, it's Sheboygan. Sheboygan. Sheboygan.
It's Sheboygan. That's good.
So at least that's my mindset. I'm like, I think my work can kind of transcend like borders, like local work. I'm trying to like where I can kind of work anywhere, and hopefully I'm kind of can cut through here in Denver and start to pick up some more. I would love to do more local stuff just from not having to travel all the time, jump on a plane to make money. I've done that forever. So, and I'll continue to do that. It's just hopefully I can start building some more local stuff. Like this week, I just shot a passion project on Monday and Tuesday, and it was just awesome. We rented this ranch, a 2,700 acre ranch, like up in the mountains with horses and actors. And then I rented this plane at this private airstrip, this grass air. It was so fun. So that's coming out hopefully soon. But I was like, this is why I moved to Colorado, because
what
I
is
could
there?
go
A
shoot.
commercial or like a spec
Well,
spot?
I'm always trying to push myself as creative, and I'm like, okay, I've done the like big epic stuff, visual epic. I need something a little more lighter, a little bit more lifestyle forward. So I wrote like a little romantic short, and it's like cowboy, city girl meets cowboy, and it's going to be this like Terrence Malick-y, like 60-second lifestyle short film kind of vibe thing. And
Okay.
yeah, so you could call it a spec, but I'm trying to keep it out of the spec world, where
Nice.
I'm trying to like kind of keep it in that like I call it a micro short. I'm like, people don't watch short films unless they're like super good. Where I'm like, I can make like a little micro short, and it kind of adds to my commercial reel, then also adds to like my narrative reel. So
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a
that's
good
the goal.
approach. Like a lot of people, when they want to do passion projects or kind of like their own smaller projects to kind of like create, to kind of like improve their skill and their portfolio, they usually tend to lean a lot either, like you said, in longer form short films or something like that, or a lot of the time spec ads where they pick a brand and then they do like an ad for that. But you're going with the micro short approach, which is great because you're also focusing on a storytelling aspect.
Yes,
And then
yes.
that can always be something that you can do in the future where just you can slap a brand at the end, and then that's a
Totally. Yeah, and
a branded ad right there.
totally. And who knows, once I get into the edit of it, I might be like, we should just put a logo at the end, and like create this like vibe thing. But I really want to kind of keep it in that short world. And the tough thing is when the spec ad, I think the advantage of it is like you just throw that like big brand logo on it and like, oh, look at this, you have it on your website. But I don't know, like I just want to create authentic stories, and spec world, like I'm trying to push into that like 90-second film world where like how can I tell really impactful stories in 90 seconds, and it's just full storytelling versus like, oh, it has to be with this brand. I'm like, well, this thing we just shot, it could be for a lot of different things. It's like lifestyle for it. It could be fashion. It could be a cologne thing. It could be like, yeah. So
that's
why
good,
I kind of want to keep it agnostic, where like a creative can watch it and be like, oh, this was just his own work. Like they see it as like a director making his own work and like expressing himself, versus like, oh, he just made this for like a brand or like it's like not as impactful. I feel like I have like full creative freedom on it.
Yeah, and you could also always, when you want to pitch an idea with a future client or something like that, you could show that micro short, and it can transcend industries, which is good, like you said.
Totally.
And it's like the first that we've heard of someone like going with that approach, with just the micro short approach. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I feel like it's I don't know. I've done it a couple times before. I made this little short. I don't know if you saw. It's called Voices, a film. It's like 80 seconds or something. And again, it was that micro short. I was like, I could have slapped a logo at the end of it to make it a spec ad, but I wanted to like keep the art form a little higher than just like a commercial. And now that I'm able to say it's like a passion project, like micro short, and people, it's punchy, tells a story. I feel like for me, it's not as disposable, where it's like, oh, it's just a commercial, when I can show my work and be like, oh, this is something that I dreamed up and executed on. I think that any client seeing that is going to be like, oh, wow, we actually have a director that's trying to figure out how to say things and how to express his creativity, versus just like, oh, anybody can go make a commercial and like, oh, we're just promoting this thing. But how can you write an idea and go execute on it? And that's, as a personal project, and try to say something, that's the tough part. And that's something that I've really tried to push myself in the last, more than the last 5 years, is like, how can I make work that speaks from my heart? And it's not easy, and I don't always get the opportunity to do it. And I think this little piece for me was more painterly and trying to like say something, I guess you could say something that's personal, make something that's a little more impactful. So
no, that's great. But one thing I'm also actually curious about, because this sounded like it wasn't something very inexpensive to do, because you had to rent out a large ranch, you had to rent out a plane. Like, how did you go about funding it from a business standpoint? Like, did you just go all in yourself, or did you get people to help you with that?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So I've written this little, call it the micro short, last year at one point, and I was like, okay, I need to go. Usually how it works is I've done a bunch of jobs, make some money, then I'm like, okay, now it's my turn. I'm like, I gave all my time to clients, I'm like, made money, now I need to go make something for me. And so I wrote this thing, and I was going to shoot it in Texas, and then I started running the numbers on it. It was going to cost me like 25 grand, and I was like, oh, I don't want to spend $25,000 on my own thing right now. Let me just table this, and maybe I'll never make it. I'll just leave it in the treatment world. Like, I have a whole box of just ideas. Once I'll get after a job, I'm like, my turn. I'll write down my next idea. And then if I get to make it, great. If not, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll pull that for a future client project and be like, hey, would you just want to do something like this? So one of my collaborators, Andrew, he got a lead the other day that they were like, hey, we're trying to build film supplies libraries. Do you have any directors that would be down to collaborate with us? And so I just sent him over the treatment that I had.
Film supply library? What's that?
Yeah, film supply. Are you familiar with film supply?
Oh, the website, right?
Yeah.
So like for stock footage and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so basically he's like, we have, decent budget we can put behind this, and then they own the footage, and I can go make my own project. So they funded the whole thing, and then I got to make my own thing.
Wow.
Interesting.
I mean, that
doesn't happen
good.
every day. And then I'm doing that again in a few weeks. We're doing like an Olympic thing. But that'll be more like spec world, more like personal project. But yeah, I think it's like just having the right network. It's also, they trust me because I have my work. I have a reel, that's like pretty extensive. And so they're not just like chucking money at at something. They're like, he's a track record. So.
Right.
Yeah. So, but that's not always the case. I mean, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars on my own stuff. Like, people are like, how do you get in the industry? I'm like, you have to full send, otherwise, you know.
You've actually spent
Depends
like
what you're trying
that-
to do, though. It's like, I'm trying to like create like very dialed in commercial, highly visual work. I'm trying to stay super specific in a lane. I'm not just trying to like say yes to everything that moves. And in order to do that, you have to like create your own work and create your own, like, how do you see the world? To say, like, you get paid for how you see the world, you know?
Right.
So
You're very creative. I can tell you have like a very creative side to you. I'm just wondering how you like merge it with like the business side, because usually they don't go hand in hand, right?
yeah, no, totally. And I think a part of that is like my entrepreneur side is, yeah, I guess I enjoy business. I enjoy deals. I enjoy networking. Like, I think that that's maybe the blend that not a lot of guys get. It's like, hey, I'm super creative, but I'm like not good with people, or like I'm not good with producing. And I've just had to like kind of push myself in that way, because it's like a means to the end, where it's like, I have to get good at that in order to like survive in this industry. I can't just like have one skill set, you know? So I don't know. It's just always been kind of a part of my soul, I guess you could say. The business side and the networking side and the deal making side, and really like how can you play in sandboxes is my thing. I like to say is like, how can you create work, high quality work within like a scope and a scale? You know, it's like everyone thinks we're going to create a $5 million movie. I'm like, you're not going to get the $5 million movie. Like, you got to make your $1 million movie. Like, so.
Got to make that micro short first, right?
Exactly.
Be willing to spend 5-10 grand of your own money first before you can do anything else like that.
You know, when I was like kind of first starting out as my directing career, you know, I think I made like 3 projects that like did not turn out, and I just chucked cash at them because I was like, I have to go make stuff in order for me to like get work. And that was kind of more the young and dumb, where I was like, I'm in this, I'm taking every dollar and throwing it back into believing in myself. But as a result of that, I was able to, obviously become a better creative, because I was like, well, I failed on that one, I failed on this one and that one. But I was able to experiment and at a higher level, but it was all taking on the risk myself. And I attribute that a lot to my success, is that just taking that risk, jumping off the cliff and being like, I'm just going to do it. Like, I'm not going to let anyone else stop me. Like, let's go. And as a result of it, I have a lot of projects sitting on a hard drive that no one will see.
Oh yeah, the backlog of passion projects and, like you said, ideas that are just also just living on the computer.
Yeah. So
Well, when the AI gets good, you can always feed it to Sora and ask it to fix it up for you, and
then
finally
boom, you're
release
done.
it.
There you go.
totally.
And now we've come full circle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're at the 1 hour mark, so that's pretty good time to end it.
Cool.
Unless, Kyrill, you want to touch on anything else? Or?
Yeah, I was actually, I mean, like, we don't ask this question too often anymore, but like, how did you come up with the name Territory 6 for your company name?
There's a whole story. So, I always like to say filmmaking evokes like this. We have like our 5 senses, and then I think that storytelling evokes like a 6th sense, where it's like all of them come together and you feel this emotion from stories. And so I always like to say, like, it enters into a new territory, and that territory is Territory 6. So it's just like, as good stories evoke like all 5 senses to a certain degree, but it's like this 6th sense of like what a good story can evoke, of emotion it can evoke. And it's outside of like our 5 senses, right? It's like into this different universe, into a different territory, Territory 6. So
The Spidey sense.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
So
No, that's a great story. I like it.
it's just trying to get a little background to it. And now I'm just calling it T6. It's kind of like I've rebranded a little bit and just call it T6. And
That sounds
it's
like a
little
Resident
punchy.
Evil virus. T6 virus.
Or a new Terminator movie.
Well, it's like I look at brands like, all these brands like GE. They just call it GE, but it's General Electric, right? So I'm like, let me just call it T6 and it's Territory 6. But
Nice.
But can you get T6.com? That's the real question.
actually, I need to check because someone would probably buy it after this podcast.
Unfortunately, I feel like that probably is already taken. Anything with like 2 letters or 3 letters is likely taken, or they're holding it hostage for like 10 grand or 100
story.
grand.
I won't mention the client name just for confidentiality, but we had a client and they rebranded their name, and it was this, 5-letter word, 6-letter word, but missing one of the vowels in it, right near the end.
Classic.
And they apparently found the guy that owned it, and it was this guy's first part of his middle name. First part of his first name, so like short form, his initial for his middle initial, and then his last name, right? And it's this guy in Australia apparently, and then they're like, okay, can we get it? And he's like, oh yeah, sure, I just need like 5 G's and like a case of beer or something, apparently the ask was. And they're like, this guy didn't know that they had like up to 50K, no questions asked, like
ready to go,
which means that they probably had double that amount.
Yeah, that they were willing to go.
In business, I've learned is like when you're asking a client about a budget, hey, what did you have to spend? Let them talk, because they may triple what you thought they had.
Yeah.
I've gotten in trouble over the years. They're like, how much do you think this costs? I'm like, what do you have to spend?
That's what I always ask too. I'm like, before we even get to that part, I'm like, all right, so you guys want this and that? I'm like, what are we working with?
Yeah.
I let them answer. I let them answer. You tell me.
Like I had one last year. It was like, I thought they were gonna say like 50 grand, and they're like, oh, we have like 250. I'm like, oh, glad you spoke and I didn't, because I was thinking this a totally different thing.
It would have been doing it with one arm behind your back compared to what they would have given you.
It's like run and gun, but you guys are like making this a thing.
It's funny. You might have talked, if you actually said 50, if you quoted 50, you might have talked yourself out of that deal too, because then they would have gone like, well, that's way less than what everyone else is asking. So red flag.
It's understanding the creative and being like, what is this actually going to take to get off the ground? But yeah, it's funny when it comes to. And I just found out a casino owns T6.com. Funny, what the heck?
Casino?
Yeah, casino.
Yeah,
slots and casinos. Well, to T6
what's that
VIP
mafia
members.
money, man?
Who knows? I gotta buy them.
There's so many odd like online casino names and like very random ones. There's like one that's like 4 sevens, and that's the name of the casino. It's like 7777.com.
How do you know this stuff? What you
it's in Eastern Europe. You see the ads there,
Oh, okay.
when
I was
when
gonna
you go
say
over.
this guy barely shows up to poker night every Monday, and now he knows about casinos and this.
That's so funny.
And how he's been betting the last couple of weeks. I don't know, man. I wouldn't go on those websites.
Funny guy.
So good. Okay, well, guys, this has been fun. Thanks for chatting this out.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. So, guys, if you want to hire Chris, or reach out to him or check his website
invite him for
out,
coffee in Alaska, he'll fly to you. So if you want to invite him for coffee, he'll come to you. Don't worry.
If there's a Saudi
the thing
prince,
is, I never tell people that I'm flying in for coffee. I just say I'm in town. That's the difference.
If there's a Saudi prince that wants to invite someone from Denver, then reach out to them. So anyways, Territory 6 with the 6. I'm just trying to pull up your website. It's Territory 6,
number
and
6.
the 6 is a number 6.com. What are your socials?
Chris Leclerc and Territory 6, Territory_6. They'll be able to find me if you just search Chris Leclerc on Instagram. I post most of the stuff on Instagram. It's the kind of that dual brand. It's like my personal brand with the company attached.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and he's willing to fly out to meet you, even
But I
if it's
won't
just for
tell
a coffee.
you. The thing is, I won't tell you that I'm flying out to meet you. I'm flying out. Oh, I'm just in town.
I'm here for other reasons. It makes sense. Yeah.
Because I'm like, wait, I need to get in town because there's like 4 other people that have said they want to go to coffee with me, so I might as well just make this the thing and then go. It's networking, That's how the industry works.
Nice. Short, when is it going to release?
So I'm just have a backlog of work right now. I'm working on the show, and so that's shooting. So it's just in the background right now. We literally just wrapped yesterday, but it's gonna be really cool. I got an FPV on the Komodo just chasing planes in the mountains. So we have this epic plane sequence, and this it's gonna be great. I'm pumped.
So guys,
send it over to us. We want to see.
Follow him on
ready.
social so that you can see when it's released. Then. Yeah, I guess that's it. All right. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, guys. We'll chat soon. Go. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Creatives Grab Coffee. Please make sure to follow and engage with us on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, and your favorite podcast app.
Creatives Grab Coffee is created by Lapse Productions, a video production company based in Toronto, Canada.
Creatives Grab Coffee is also sponsored by...
My name is Miran. Welcome to Canada Film Equipment. We are a boutique rental house based in Toronto. We are here to help you guys out with all production sizes. Feel free to contact us to get a quote if you are a production house and you're looking for lighting, camera packages, or lighting and group band packages. You can see our contact information in the link below. We are more than happy to help you guys out. Make sure you follow and subscribe to creativesgrabcoffee.com. Thank you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Matt. Welcome to Audio Process. We are a boutique audio company doing location sound, sound design, post-sound, ADR, Foley. We service equipment. We do all your audio needs here in Toronto. We got you covered. Come on down, audioprocess.ca. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and all of the other internet things to creativesgrabcoffee.com. They'll be waiting for you. I'll be waiting for you, and we're all going to have a real good time.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.